Well, Florida Gators added their commit. They got one tonight, which I was a little worried wouldn't happen for a little bit. It was a little touch and go at certain points there. I am just making sure that this is actually going live, otherwise I'm going to feel silly. Um, so that's that. But yeah, the Gators they added their guy. They've got a player. They got Jakeem Jackson, the 4-star defensive back, and it's good. It's a good ad for the Florida Gators. Yeah, this is big for Florida primarily because it was just a little worrisome that things weren't going to happen. I'm going to let people flow through and flow in, and we're going to see how it goes. But yeah, it was a little worrisome that Florida wouldn't get anybody, but luckily for us, that is not the case. So Florida added Jakeem Jackson for a day where Florida was sorry. I'll take the shades off. I just do that for the commitments. So those are off. But yeah, no, we were getting to the point where Florida had John Walker, the 4-star defensive lineman, on the table for today. They were hat on the table, as we've been saying. They had Derek LeBlanc, who Florida was a hat on the table, but I mean, even today's episode of Locked On Gators, when it came out this morning, I said I think John Walker's going to UCF, Central Florida, which he went to UCF. He was the he was the highest ranked recruit and highest ranked commit in UCF history. So nothing necessarily shocking from that one. That again went as expected. And Derek LeBlanc, also a 4-star defensive lineman, he also went to Oklahoma, which is again what was expected to happen. So still no surprises there. And that shouldn't be there shouldn't have been a surprise there. That was literally what we expected to happen. That was what we were thinking we'd see, and it's what we saw. But Jakeem Jackson is another player who we were expecting to come to Florida. We thought would come to Florida, but if we're being honest, I was getting a little worried. I was like, I didn't plan for this, so we were going to get a little. I planned for commits. If we didn't get it, then it was going to be awkward. But Jakeem Jackson's a 4-star defensive backman from defensive back. Sorry, I was used to saying defensive lineman. Getting ready to talk about John Walker and Derek LeBlanc. But he's here from Kissimmee, Florida, 4-star defensive back. He is now the 3rd highest ranked commit in the University of Florida's recruiting class for 2023, which is big. The ranking has not updated yet on 24/7, but before this ad, Florida was 23rd. We'll see where it is afterwards. But yeah, 3rd highest ranked commit in the 2023 Gators class, behind Eugene Wilson III, the wide receiver, and TJ Searcy, the defensive lineman. And Jakeem Jackson has fantastic size, by the way, 6'1", 180 pounds. He's a great athlete. He's a pass catcher that moved to playing defensive back, so he's got great ball skills. And that seems to be something that Florida is looking for in their defensive backs. You look at Jakeem Jackson, and we've talked about him with John Garcia. Great ball skills, defensive back, or wide receiver turn defensive back. You look at Jordan Castle, who's a safety that's committing on Saturday, and Florida is currently the favorite. And he is a defensive player that also plays offense. He plays receiver, plays running back. He moves all around the field. Great ball skills. You look at Cormani McLean, the top corner in the class. Fantastic ball skills. And look at that. Florida's pushing heavily for him. Florida's looking for defensive playmakers. And look, by all accounts, Jakeem Jackson is that guy. We've talked about it with John Garcia, Sports Illustrated's director of football recruiting, who usually comes by. And Jakeem Jackson's been greatly improving over the past few months. He's climbing in the ranks. He's currently on 24/7, the 195th national player, according to the 24/7 composite. He's 168th overall in the nation. He is the 21st corner, 45th player in the state of Florida. And according to the composite, 19th corner, 37th player in the state of Florida. And he was crystal ball there. Yes, Dominic Tudor, we got to commit. Let's go, Alvin Earthly. Florida just got Jakeem Jackson. Go Gators. Yes, we are very excited for Jakeem Jackson. This is a massive win. Also, I want people to start putting more respect on William Peekler's name, the tight end coach for Florida, because for all 3 kids that had Florida in their top 3 or top 5 or top whatever it was, William Peekler was one of the people recruiting them. He was usually the secondary recruiter. This one was, of course, Corey Raymond, who's the cornerbacks coach for Florida, and that's not surprising. Corey Raymond is the guy who kind of helped turn LSU into DBU for the time that they were DBU. Thank you, Dominic. I love this show too. Um, but yeah, so it's kind of like that's what we're looking for uh, with Corey Raymond is he's the guy that helped turn LSU into DBU for the time that they were DBU, but that time is over. Now it is Gainesville once again. Florida's pushing for DBU, especially with Jakeem Jackson coming on board. Who I'm going to check now to see if the commits if the class rank has updated. Nope, it has not yet, but it will while we're here. But now with Jakeem Jackson, with Sharif Denson, that's two corners for the class. Aaron Gates is a defensive back as well. He's listed as an athlete, but he's going to play defensive back. So Florida has kind of added now four defensive backs, still in play for multiple guys like Jordan Castle, who I mentioned already is committing on Saturday. Like Cormani McLean, who I already mentioned, they were in on a lot of other guys. But here's something also that I want to touch on before even getting further into the impact of Jakeem Jackson, because I know Tommy Kinsler's committing today. Don't care about it because we've talked about this with Florida just backing off recruits during that time. During their recruitment, when things get when they kind of get red flags, is what we'll say. When they get red flags, Florida tends to back off. That's what they did with. We're not alive. Why not say it? That's what Florida backed off Peyton Kirkland. We kind of hinted at that on Wednesday's show, but I can tell you for a fact, Florida backed off Peyton Kirkland. So when it came time to last Saturday when Peyton Kirkland was committing, and he committed to Texas seemingly out of nowhere, Florida backed off. So Florida was never even in play on that day. With Derek LeBlanc, I believe Florida backed off as well, not only just based on how they were sensing his recruitment going leading towards Oklahoma, but just sorry, I was just reading the chat. But by all accounts, Florida backed off Derek LeBlanc is what I believe happened. And I'm not just saying like everybody Florida backed off is who is like the reason they didn't commit. No, Malik Bryant, Florida was very much pushing for. Jakeem Jackson, Florida was very much pushing for. I don't know about John Walker, but John Walker on his Instagram Live said that he silently committed to UCF 3 months ago. So we're about to talk about this recruiting class and much more. But first, a quick word from Built Bar because it's summertime. I'm dying, by the way. My AC's been messed up for like a week now, and it's very hot out here. So I'm dying over here. But it's summer bod shape now. It's helping me because I'm sweating so much that is helping. But diet-wise, I have a sweet tooth. Been very open about that. I have a very hardcore sweet tooth. But Built Bar, coated in 100% chocolate. Most bars have just 130 calories, which is insane when you consider that it's covered in chocolate. And like they now have cookie dough chunk flavored puffs, which is like it's marshmallow coated in chocolate with protein and cookie dough chunks in it, and they're 130 calories, just 4 net carbs, 17 grams of protein. They're delicious, they're amazing, they're fantastic, and I don't feel like absolute garbage afterwards. So that's a big plus for me at least. So make sure you order Built Bar. Use promo code LOCKED15. That is LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your next order with Built or BuiltBar.com. Also, anybody, if you have questions in the chat, send them. I'll read them here. I'm here for at least another 5 minutes, but maybe we'll make it another 10 to 15, depending on how things go. Big Larry, Tommy Kinsler committed to the University of Miami. I guess you just missed it. But like I was saying, Florida, I believe, backed off Tommy Kinsler. That's my belief. I know Florida backed off Peyton Kirkland before he committed to Texas. I know that I'm pretty sure Florida backed off Derek LeBlanc. I know Florida backed off Tommy Kinsler, especially after his commit and then 2-week commitment, I believe it was, before he decommitted. I have no doubt about Florida backing off Tommy Kinsler. Like I've said, they tend to do that when a player gets red flags. And that's what Tommy Kinsel has. Zach Goodall tweeted, Florida is sky high on cornerback Jakeem Jackson. Staff believes he has the potential to be one of the better pure corners in this class. Only has 4 games of experience after moving to DB last year, but picked off 3 passes in that stretch. Legit 6'1", legit 4.5 40. He's going to be a freak for Florida. I hope everybody knows that. Like, genuinely, I think he's going to be incredible because we've talked about Corey Raymond already a little bit. But not only is Corey Raymond one of the best recruiters in the nation, specifically at corner, but he is also one of the best developers of talent in the nation at corner. So I think that's something that people have to kind of take into account and give him more credit for. Where they're kind of overlooking Corey Raymond's ability to develop players. So it's like that's why they're looking for players that have those raw traits: length, speed, ball skills, things that are very either impossible to teach or very difficult to teach. And so Florida's adding players like that because Corey Raymond is the type that can make diamonds out of literally anything, not just gold, literally anything. He just make diamonds. He just diamond. That's what Corey Raymond can do at the cornerback position. I'm going to check the class now to see if it's updated yet, but they've been dragging their feet. It has not changed. Florida is still number 23 after adding Jakeem Jackson. That doesn't sound right. We'll see. We'll see if that continues to be the case, but that doesn't sound right. Like Florida shouldn't add a commit and stay the same, or shouldn't add a commit like Jakeem Jackson and stay the same team ranking. So that doesn't sound right, but we'll see what it is. Chat said, Nicholas M said Cormani McClain is ours as well. I'm thinking he is. And here's the thing. I don't want to speak in absolutes because every time I speak in absolutes, it doesn't happen. But Cormani McClain, I do believe, will be a Florida Gator. Hawk Minifield asked, when does Cormani McClain commit? He doesn't have a set date. He doesn't have a set date yet. Cormani McClain is said to be, kind of just going through the process. Florida's the front runner right now. We know that Alabama has been in there as well. BYU is in there as well. Florida's been in the mix consistently, and I think that's the thing where Florida openly says, we want to win in the state of Florida. Florida now has 13 commits. 11 of them are from in the state of Florida. 2 of them are from Georgia. So Billy Napier and staff, they're doing a solid job. That's the thing where people talk about, is Florida really doing their thing? Is Florida really doing their part as far as winning the state of Florida? Because we've seen so many losses to Miami specifically, not necessarily Florida State, but we've lost Jonel Aguero, the second safety in the country, went to Georgia last week, and Florida was in on him. Aiden Mizell commits tomorrow. Nicholas M, yes, Aiden Mizell is committing tomorrow. If he commits to Florida, I will be going live after this, after that commitment. Same way we're doing it now, I will be going live. So subscribe, turn the bell on, get the notifications for me doing that, because again, if Aiden Mizell commits tomorrow, I will be going live. If I can, I will be going live after Friday Night Lights if Florida gets commits. Saturday, Jordan Castle is committing at, I believe, noon. Off the top of my head, it's noon. And if he commits to Florida, I will be going live. My plan is if I'm home, I have every intention of going live after every Florida commit. But with Jakeem Jackson, go Dogs! Don't care, Curtis Denton. With that, I do. With Jakeem Jackson committing, a strong Florida defensive class just got stronger, and that's the important part because also we have a bonus episode coming out tomorrow. If you're listening to this when it's released as a video on Friday, then it's out already. But tomorrow I have an interview coming out with quarterback coach Balin Trujillo. He is the quarterback coach for Davi Belfort, the four-star. He, I believe, was a 4-star for 2025, but he's now coming from 2025 to 2024. He's reclassified, and we have an interview with him coming out tomorrow morning. It's going to be sick. It was a fantastic interview. Davi Belfort, if you're an MMA fan, his father is MMA legend Vitor Belfort, so that was really cool to do. I like MMA, so that was awesome. UFC Saturday, woo! But yeah, strong defensive class gets even stronger, and we've talked about the struggles that Florida has had on the recruiting trail. They haven't really been on defense. I think you need to add some defensive linemen for sure, which Florida was in the running for 2 of them today, did not get either of them. But when you look at this defensive class, you've got TJ Searcy on the defensive line, you've got Gavin Hill on the defensive line. You've got Isaiah Nixon as the edge rusher that you have. You need to add linebacker. That's something that needs to happen for Florida. You need to add linebackers to this team. But looking at the defensive backfield, Jakeem Jackson is now the highest ranked DB commit. You've got Sharif Denson is a corner who for a while was the highest ranked DB commit for Florida. You've got Aaron Gates, who has been committed since August of last year. He's a Mullen commit that stuck through with Florida as being our commit and being in the DB. He's an athlete. He plays both sides of the ball. He's going to be playing DB for Florida almost definitely. It's similar to when I asked John Garcia about Eugene Wilson, and I was like, he's an athlete, and John was like, he's a receiver. It's the same thing with Aaron Gates. It's like he's an athlete. He's going to be playing DB. That's just how it is, which it's fine. Chat talking about Eugene Wilson, Aiden Mizell, Trayon Webb, Marcus Stokes would be deadly, and Andy Jean, said Nicholas. If you listen to, I believe it was Wednesday's episode of Locked On Gators, or maybe even, it might have been Tuesday, listen to them both. But I had John Garcia on the show, and he was talking about Florida building this receiver class, where he's like, you got Eugene Wilson III as your slot. You've got Patterson as your you've got Tyree Patterson as your stereotypical X receiver. You've got Creed Whitmore probably going to be playing in the slot. He's an offensive weapon type. He's a QB, receiver. He does it all. Adding Aiden Mizell would give you your legitimate number one option that can do it all, work inside out, and be that focal point of your passing attack. So we've got that if Aiden Mizell commits, and then adding a player like Andy Jean. Once you have Aiden Mizell, you kind of have a full receiving core, but you still want to add kind of cherries on the top, is what John Garcia called them. You want to add cherries on top of that with players like Andy Jean, which would be awesome. And then you've got DeQuavius Story is not scheduled to commit, but Florida is heavily favored for him, where he could commit at any time, and it wouldn't be shocking. With Aiden Mizell committing tomorrow, maybe to Florida, maybe Friday Night Lights will kind of push some kids to commit to Florida. And also, there's a barbecue on Saturday that will maybe push some kids to commit to Florida. That would be really cool. Jordan Castle is committing on Saturday as a defensive back again. Florida's got a lot of kids that are scheduled to commit, that they're in the running for. And again, Florida has updated, or 24/7 has updated the ranks. Florida is now the number 17 class in the nation after adding Jakeem Jackson. That is fantastic. Florida just jumped Louisville, Northwestern, Iowa, Oregon, North Carolina, and Washington to finally get where they should be by jumping up there. And Florida is now just 8 spots behind Miami, chomping at the bit, adding people. Why does title say Eugene Wilson? Does it say Eugene Wilson? It shouldn't say Eugene Wilson. That's very weird. I don't know why it says that, Sean. That's annoying. I don't know why it says that. On my screen, it says Jakeem Jackson, but I'm looking at my phone and I see that it says Eugene Wilson. I have no idea why it says that. I will edit that after, I guess, because I can't do that right now. But thank you for pointing that out, because I would have never noticed. I don't know what happened there. But that's what we're talking about. I'm going to give people like another minute or two to ask questions in the chat if you've got any questions. If not, then we're going to end the stream and we'll be ready for tomorrow. If Aiden Mizell commits to Florida, then we will go live immediately after that. He's committing at 2:30 Eastern time. Probably 2:35, 2:45 more likely. The commits tonight were shockingly early compared to how other commits have been dragged out. But yeah, if Aiden Mizell commits, we'll be going live for that. If Jordan Castle commits, I think we're going to be able to go live for that. If there are any other commits this weekend, I believe we'll be able to go live for those. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Even though we haven't been getting some top recruits the last couple weeks, at least we're in the running, and it's only Napier's first. It wouldn't be in the running for these. Yeah, Hawk. I get. We've talked about that actually a lot. I believe on Wednesday again. We talked about that for Florida with John Garcia, Sports Illustrated's director of football recruiting, where it was like, yes, we can give credit for saying, well, we wouldn't have been in conversation for these kids if Dan Mullen was here. Florida wouldn't be even contending for these kids if Dan Mullen was here, and at least you're contending for them now. But at a certain point, you have to kind of, no risk it, no biscuit situation where you have to say, I don't care anymore. We need those recruits. Like we need to finish these commits. And that's what we're talking about. We'll talk about that next week with John Garcia. We've got a lot of content. And with that being said, thank you for checking out. What is the feeling on why Bateman and the line coaches are not as strong as the rest of the team? Here's the thing, because we talk about why the defensive line coaches aren't really doing their thing. Uh, Mike Peterson is doing his thing. Mike Peterson has been in on the top commits. He's the outside linebacker coach, I know, but outside linebackers in Florida scheme are going to be edge rushers essentially. So he is in on a lot of these guys. I don't get it. What people are saying. Yes, linebacker has been tough, but also, I think that's more on Jay Bateman, which we'll see what happens at that point. That's more on Jay Bateman. Mike Peterson, I do not blame at all because he's an outside linebackers coach, and the outside linebackers are working the edge. He flipped Isaiah Nixon, things like that. He's been in on a lot of these commits. With that being said, thank you all for tuning in and checking out Locked On Gators, and we will be back again. We got bonus content coming out for Friday morning. If Aiden Mizell commits, we'll be going live immediately after. If Jordan Castle commits, we'll be going live immediately after. And Friday Night Lights and the Saturday Barbecue will also be going live immediately after if we can. Thank you all for tuning in. Mario Cristogoat. Okay, just go back a few minutes where I said Florida stopped recruiting Tommy Kinsler after he decommitted from Florida. That's just what it is. And Florida stopped recruiting Peyton Kirkland, and I believe they stopped recruiting Derek LeBlanc. Florida's doing that. But you can go back and check that where I explained it more. But that is what it is. That's where we're going. Yeah, Mario. I know you just got here. I'm saying though that I've discussed it like 3 times in this episode. That's why I'm like, yeah, Florida stopped recruiting a few players, apparently specifically in the trenches when they notice any like red flags. Yes, yeah, Mario Cristogo. Everyone stopped recruiting Peyton Kirkland. Yeah, I've got it confirmed for Florida, Miami, and Oklahoma, and I'm pretty sure that he was the one that reached out to Texas, and that's why it had to happen. Not that Arch told me Arch told me he needed a left tackle. Nah. Thank you all for checking out Locked On Gators, and I will see you all maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Depends on who commits.